property rights should be protected. Your right to be on TV is protected by property rights because somebody owns that station. I can't walk into your station. So right of freedom of speech is protected by property. The right of your church is protected by property. So people should honor and protect it.
So between 1848, say 1856, and the beginning of the 20th century, you went out, created a private property system that brought in banks, and you created prosperity.
But China is still developing such property rights.
But in much of the countryside, the past prevails, and the land is owned collectively.
Property rights aren't just for the rich, however. They serve us all. By marking out who can do what with each home, car, and other things, property rights help us live together in peace and prosperity. Property rights pervade our social world, encouraging productive labor and discouraging waste. We all benefit from property rights. Indeed, they prove especially valuable to those who own the least. Want a good example of how things go wrong without property rights? Consider a foreclosed home subject to a title dispute. When it isn't clear who owns something, nobody has an incentive to preserve and protect it. The result? Neglect, ruin, and waste. Property rights help us avoid conflicts over all sorts of resources. The only solution men have yet discovered to the problem of reconciling individual freedom with the absence of conflict. Law, liberty, and property are an inseparable trinity. Ludwig von Mises observed, "Even the poor man who can call nothing his own lives incomparably better in our society than he would in one that would prove incapable of producing even a fraction of what is produced in our own."
What is the relationship of property rights and liberty in general?
Well, that's a great question. It's something that vexes a lot of our current society, although it was well known to certainly the founders of America, the understanding that property rights and liberty were just two sides of the same coin. And, 100 years before the founding, John Locke mentioned that every man has a property in his own person. So property is much more than just our physical things, isn't it? It's more than our land and our buildings and our cars and our jewelry and our bank accounts and our stocks and bonds, or lack thereof. It's also ourselves, our ideas and our thoughts, our hopes and dreams. It's our humanity itself. Property is our humanity. That's what we are as human beings, as property creators and producers. And the argument came forth from that the fruits of our labor is our property as well, so our income that's earned and the things that we purchase with that. Property must be secured, or liberty can't exist. Property rights precondition, they predetermine all the other rights. You can't possibly have the right to a free press if the government can just come and take your printing press, or right to religion, freedom of religion, if the government can confiscate your church. Property rights precondition all other rights, and liberty itself.
But you know what? There's nothing more important than this. This is our liberty, and our private property rights are the foundation of our freedom in this country.